Welcome to the Pillar to Post podcast. I am your host, Dewey Danielson, and today we are talking about the return of 3Dub Wrestling. That's right, we're going to cover Blaze Episode 1, we're going to cover Blackout, and we are going to cover The House Show. So be sure to stay tuned with us, hit that like button, and let's dive right in.
Never seen us coming when we come around. Never see us running from the other town.
Around the world, here we go. Another episode 2 of the Pillar to Post podcast. Guys, thanks for joining me once again here on this beautiful Sunday morning for Worldwide Wrestling. Guys, we want to first say thank you for the big turnout of episode 1 and the final episode of Blaze here on season 10. Before we get into anything, of course, be sure to hit that like button down below on this video. You guys won't believe how much that helps having the likes, so please hit the like button. Subscribe to Worldwide Wrestling, 3Dub Wrestling, if you haven't already. And be sure to follow us on all of our social media accounts. All of the links are in the description. Of course, here on YouTube, our biggest platform, which would be Facebook. Come find us in the 3Dub Wrestling Facebook group. And then on Instagram and TikTok. Be sure to help 3Dub get where we are going. Every little bit counts. Again, thanks for watching and thanks for hitting that like button. Guys, we have a lot to go over today. We don't have a special guest like we did on the first episode. If you haven't listened to that, be sure to go back and listen to the exclusive interview with James Black regarding Season 10 and the new 3Dub Wrestling under the James Black era. A lot of good stuff there on the first episode, and we are now traveling into number 2. Man, I am excited. And I hope you guys are too. First of all, the show, the Blaze show, what a fantastic turnout it ended up being. As of right now, the day of recording, we got 222 views on the show. Guys, that's just in a week's time. It's pretty good numbers for our corner of the EFED world. Although, we would love to have those numbers much, much higher. So, that leads me to say, please share the shows when you watch them. That also goes a long way to help us reach as many people as possible to come get their eyes on this fantastic premier EFED entertainment that is 3Dub Wrestling. Man, oh man, what a huge, huge week it was for 3Dub. First, before we get started on the Blaze show, I want to talk about some of the things that we did this week. One was release the brand new Blackout Brand's theme song. You can hear it playing in the background here. What a fantastic tune that we have here, thanks to artificial intelligence. Very, very, very fine theme here for Blackout. You guys will be hearing an awful lot of that theme song this season and much, much more. We do hope that you liked it. And by liked it, I mean press that like button. But yes, if you haven't heard it, be sure to go check it out on the 3Dub YouTube page. It is under the Season 10 theme songs. And you can check it out there in its entirety. It's also floating around a little 1 minute and 30-second clips on all of the social media pages. Something else we did this week, the first promo of the week, and that was awarded to the longtime 10-year veteran, Caleb Stone, dubbing himself the cornerstone of 3Dub, and I don't know if I can argue against that at all, and I'm not sure any of the superstars in the locker room could neither. He has been with us for 10 seasons now. And if you have lost count or don't know how to count, this is our 10th season. So that means that he has been with us every step of the way. So hats off to Caleb Stone if you were listening. And if you want to show your appreciation to someone like Caleb Stone, who has been the only active superstar to last every season thus far, in the comments section below, please write hashtag thank you Caleb. It's guys like him that keep this company going strong. But if you didn't get a chance to check out his promo of the week, he recapped the match that we'll be going over in a little bit here. An XTV title match that he was able to go against Roscoe Wallace for the newly reinstated Extreme Television Championship. And that brought along some new rules with the title, in which we will also go over. But it was Caleb Stone to get the first promo of the week here in Season 10. Now, going to talk about this promo of the week just a second here, because I want to reiterate the fact that it's not always going to be the best promo that comes out that week, right? We don't want to limit this to the best, right? Because there's a lot of promos that go out on the page, and we want you guys to see these promos. The best promos will find their way on social media. And sometimes it will be the best promo of the week that gets POW. That's what I call it. POW. P-O-W. But not all the time. A lot of times it's just going to be people that are working hard to get their promos out there, or to get their stories told. Or maybe it's the best storytelling promo. Could be a number of things that lands you the spot for promo of the week for all of our superstars. But that just goes to tell me that it's encouragement to get your promos out there on the page. Because a lot of the superstars back there, most of them, if not all of them, want their names to be out there. It's an individual business in its own, being a superstar. So getting your promos out there and heard is a big thing, and it's definitely going to be a priority this season when it comes to the writing team. But when it comes to you as an individual, getting a promo out there is the only way that you're going to get promo of the week. And that is a good way to get some eyes on your character. So I encourage all of the superstars in the locker room to post promos, not just on the 3Dub Facebook group page. On the locker, we call it the locker room essentially. But on your own social media accounts, whether it be Instagram, YouTube, of course, Facebook, or Twitter, X. Some of you guys are on there. There's a big following for eFed on all of these platforms. You just got to go out and find them. And like I said, the only way you're going to get your character out there, other than what the people see in the shows and what we post, is to post your own promos. So I highly encourage all of the superstars listening, and I know the fans and the viewers that are listening right now would love to see more of the talent, more talent presence on social media. So we'll throw that out there, and hopefully a lot of the superstars follow through with that. So that was the content for this week. Not too much going into the first official week of Season 10. But be sure to go back and check out that Blackout theme and the Caleb Stone promo. So next on the agenda, we're going to talk about what was announced just a few days ago on the 3Dub Facebook group page and the fan page, is the next new show to the 3-dub lineup. A lot of new stuff coming this season. It's going to be fantastic. But the first new show we're going to talk about here is the house show that is being introduced to 3-dub, and that is going to be an interesting concept. This is going to be in a little fourth wall breakage here, if you will. This show is going to be live streamed straight from PlayStation, straight to YouTube, and it is going to run through universe mode, and it is not going to be put together like our main brand show. And what that means is there will be times that we pick who is going to be competing. Sometimes that just has to happen because we can't fully trust universe mode in that aspect. But this will be ran through universe mode in the video game. We'll be setting it all up, and we'll be letting it run its course for the most part. And that also goes for the results of the matches. It is going to be completely simulated. We are not going to add any extra clips. We are not going to do any further production. It is going to be straight live streamed from universe mode to YouTube. And with that said, we encourage everybody to watch these shows because sometimes, just like this show, and I'm about to tell you that, sometimes these shows, the direct results of these shows, even though they are out of our hands, which is great, the results could play into what could happen on the main brand card. So it will all tie together. It's not a separate brand. It's not a performance center type thing. It's not anything like that. As I've mentioned before, this show, the purpose of this show is to get more action, not just for the viewers, but for the superstars who don't make it on the main brand show that week, or who are not tied into a specific storyline at the moment. Just to get them some action, get them in the ring and get them fighting and competing. So these shows will be running the opposite weekend of Blackout. Of course, we had Blaze last weekend. We'll have Blackout next weekend, but this weekend, along with this Pillar to Post podcast, we will also be doing the house shows. And as I mentioned, live stream straight from universe mode. It's not predetermined. It's not a part of the actual storylines that are going on for Blackout, but could very well play into that. And I'll get into that in here in just a moment. But we are really excited about this house show concept and the fact that we get to keep having content every week, not just, theme songs and promos, an actual show every weekend. And whether you like the live stream thing or you like the premiere thing, we're going to have a little bit for everybody. And this is going to be really cool, man. It's going to be cool to be able to get out there and have an additional show to Blackout that'll be able to feature some guys who don't necessarily get that time on the main brand show. We want to give as much time to everybody that we can that's involved in this product because we know that a lot of you guys have a ton of passion for this, which is amazing. It's a really, really cool thing. You don't see it in very many other things that are like this. It's a very cool niche to be in. And we want to be able to give back to you guys as much as we can. So this house show concept is that giving back to you guys, giving you guys more than what you were expecting here, and giving you the opportunity that if you don't land on the main show, you still got an opportunity to wrestle in the house shows. Another cool thing about it is that it being live streamed on PlayStation to YouTube, the commentary will change more than likely every week. Now, of course, you're always, Well, I won't say always. I got to have my off days too. Sometimes you got to take some time for yourself. And that's something that I've been learning to try to do. But the cool thing is that the commentary could switch up every week. So it almost would feel like a fresh show every other week that it shows on YouTube. So guys, be sure to check that out. It is tonight, the first house show. Hopefully we don't have any technical difficulties. This will be the first time ever that Dewey will be live streaming from the PlayStation to YouTube. So hopefully we don't have any technical difficulties. If we do, of course, I will let everybody know. And we will take care of that if it comes. But I don't want to foreshadow anything like that. It's going to be a great night. Be sure to tune in. What's on the lineup? Well, these matches that I'm about to announce, 2 of them are going to be pretty interesting. Have a lot of result to them. Good. The first one, the first match that we are going to see, and forgive me if I'm getting this wrong. I'm not very good with sounding out names a lot of times. John Feuerhelm will be taking on Travell Daniel. Now, Travell has been on the Takedown brand last season and has carried it into season 10 with season 10 with 3Dub Wrestling. And we are very glad to have him and his brother Todd Daniel as a part of the family tag team. But John, this will be John's first matchup in season 10 in 3Dub. So it's very cool to see a debuting superstar here, John Feuerhelm. I really hope that I'm saying that right. But that is match 1, Travell Daniel and John Feuerhelm. Now the next 2 matches have some high stakes to them. The first match is going to be Mad Dog X, MDX of the Monarchy, against Drew Tanner, the Portsmouth Punisher. It's good to see Drew Tanner back in action after a long hiatus due to knee injury. Spent some time on Blaze last season, but of course, like I just said, suffered a pretty bad knee injury and had to take some time off, had some knee surgery. But everything seems to be going well for Drew Tanner. Be back in action here tonight against Mad Dog X of the Monarchy. Mad Dog, I know, is itching for a matchup, so he is going to be very hyped up, I'm only assuming, in this match. Now, this is a very interesting situation because we have the Season 9 Most Improved Superstar, MDX, and we have the Season 8, I believe it was. It might have been Season 7, but I think it was Season 8 Rookie of the Year in Drew Tanner. So 2 superstars who have earned big accolades in their early moments of their careers here. And they've also, I don't know if you've seen it on social media, but Drew Tanner's definitely been mentioning this. This is the rubber match between them. It's the 3rd meeting one-on-one between the 2, or at least against each other. Both of their previous 2 matches had high stakes going into the match. And now this one also has a high stake. Because the winner of this match will be facing Twan Montana in a guaranteed money qualifying match on Blackout. That is huge news, guys. We know that Twan made his statement. We'll talk about this on Blackout. He made his statement to James Black. Maybe not the right way, but he made his statement nonetheless, and it got him something that maybe he was looking for. A qualifying match, and I know he's been waiting to find out who his opponent is. Well, he's going to find out tonight at the house show, whether it be Drew Tanner or MDX. Big news right there. Now, the third matchup in what is being booked as the main event of this house show is going to see the former Extreme Champion, Eddie Walker, making his first appearance here in Season 10 against another returning superstar to 3Dub Wrestling. And this monster has been a returning superstar year after year in 3Dub. And we're glad to have him back here and being a part of the main event of the first house show. And that is going to be the Monstar Lance Hagen. And guys, if you don't know, now you do. These two gentlemen both stand 7 foot tall. They're both monsters. Okay, let's not beat that into the bush too much. They're both monsters. So this is going to be a very interesting match number 1 main event on the house show. Now, this match also has some big stipulations. And the winner of this match will be going on to face Roscoe Wallace in the next XTV title rules match on Blackout next week. So that is big as well. And you know, Eddie Walker lost his Extreme Championship match to Roscoe Wallace when it was combined for the new unified Extreme TV title at the Big Event 9. So, little chance at redemption for Eddie Walker. But he has to get through the Monstar Lance Hagen first. Not saying that he can't. But Lance Hagen is definitely a big obstacle. And you know Lance is going to be looking to get in that title match as well, because Lance is going to be wanting to bring home gold very early in his return to 3Dub Wrestling. So guys, there you have it. The house show coming to you later tonight. We have Travell Daniel and John Fuhrerhelm squaring off in a singles match. And then we have MDX and Drew Tanner squaring off in a singles match to determine who will face Twan Montana in a qualifying match on Blackout. And then we have Lance Hagen and Eddie Walker to see who is going to be the next opponent and challenger for the XTV title in Roscoe Wallace at Blackout. Very cool stuff, guys. So be sure to tune in tonight to the live stream on YouTube of the 3Dub House Show. Now, moving right along into the juicy part of this podcast. The recap of the first and last episode of Blaze in Season 10 here in Worldwide Wrestling. Major announcement made by Mr. James Black, the president of 3Dub, coming out to the ring in Las Vegas, Nevada, and announcing that yes, we have seen the last episode of Takedown and got a couple of nice remarks about the brand from the president. But we have also seen the last episode of Blaze. And he made the big announcement. Of course, it's been all over our social media accounts talking about the debut of the Blackout brand. Now, if you don't know, Blackout it was a premium live event here in 3Dub Wrestling, and it has been for the past several seasons. It is a premium live event that was named after the president himself, James Black, and has been, like I said, an ongoing thing season after season. And now we have officially come to Season 10, the James Black era, where we are going to turn the Blackout show into an official brand. And what a brand. What a show. I couldn't have think of a better show to represent this new era. It is time for the Blackout, guys, and I cannot wait until we debut episode 1 in Las Vegas again next Sunday night. But before we get to that, we are going to recap this final episode of Blaze. And you have to give your hats off to the Blaze brand for everything that Blaze and James Black and Hunter Deal accomplished over the last season and a half with Worldwide Wrestling. It has been a very fun ride to call all of the action, and I've been very honored to do so for the hottest brand in eFed, Blaze. But let's go over this last card. As I was just mentioning, the opening segment of Blaze, we seen James Black make the huge announcement that it would be the Blackout brand going forward. He also made the announcement that we were going to keep a little lineage from the 3-Dub history, and maybe we do this a few more times this season, but our first premium live event was announced to be Guaranteed Money. And I don't think I can think of a season without Guaranteed Money, so I'm kind of glad that they enforced this as the first premium live event. We are going to see that 6-man ladder match, and we are going to see a briefcase hanging above the ladder, and we are going to see somebody win that briefcase with a chance to cash in on any championship in the whole company at any given time over the course of the next 365 days. Now, what also happened during that awesome announcement by our president, got a little interruption by Twan Montana. And I talked about this already. But Twan coming out stating that he deserved to be in that G-Money match just like he was last season. And this time, he was going to win it. Well, James Black, being the fair president that he is, took it upon himself to tell Twan that that is not how things are going to work. There is no contract amendments or stipulations or additives or anything of the such that would state that Twan was into or deserved to be into this match, claiming that the only people that deserve to be in this match are the ones that win the opportunity to do so. And with that, in the same sentence, he announced our first qualifying match that'll take place on Blackout, and he didn't mention a opponent at the time, but now we know the winner of MDX and Drew Tanner will face Twan Montana on Blackout next Sunday in our first qualifying match announcement. Now, of course, that interruption didn't last too long after James Black put his foot down. But it wouldn't be very much longer until we seen John Awesome. John Awesome had some questions of his own regarding Chris Harris and what happened at the big event 9. And I think it's been questions that has been on our mind, a lot of our minds, ever since the moment took place, and ever since at the end of TB9 we seen Chris Harris and James Black shake hands. And then in the interview on the last episode of Pillar to Post, we didn't get a definitive answer. We didn't get a clear answer from James Black. In fact, he told us we were going to have to wait until Blaze to find out that answer. Well, we didn't get an answer on Blaze neither. But I think speculations are still kind of high at this point that maybe James Black and Chris Harris could be working together. Now, James did make a couple of comments that may steer us in that direction. But I don't think that anything has been cleared up officially whether James Black and Chris Harris are working together. Now, guys, scoot my chair a little closer and get a little bit more serious here for a second, because this is a big deal. This is a very big deal. Because if somebody like Chris Harris is in cahoots with James Black, the president now, things could get very interesting this season. And more importantly, a superstar like John Awesome, one of the longest reigning international champions in all of 3-Dub history. Number 2, if you want to get technical, right behind Hollywood Watkins. And also a former world champion on Blaze. He had also run his time in hybrid wrestling. And he has been all over the world. He has been on every side that 3-Dub has had to offer. It's interesting that somebody like him would get left in the dust at the Big Event 9, and then still to this day, we don't have any answers for him as far as what had happened, why it had happened, and why it was allowed to take place. Well, I think we're going to get some of those answers on this upcoming episode of Blackout, because a little preview to the card, we'll go over this a little bit later, but we're going to have a sit-down interview with the president himself, James Black, John Awesome, and Chris Harris. This is going to be very interesting to see what happens, what takes place. We have all 3 of these guys in the same room with James Black asking the questions. Will there be answers that we have all been waiting for? That is my biggest question. But then it wouldn't take too much longer after John Awesome addresses James Black and the Chris Harris situation that we wouldn't see Mr. Big Event himself show up on the stage and almost get booed out of Nevada. Chris Harris shows up and tells everybody to kiss his you-know-what. Didn't go over very well. And John Awesome leaves the ring and they fight on the entrance ramp. It took 8 security guards and staff members to separate these two as the opening segment came to an end. I believe there was a lot more that James Black was wanting to say, but was rudely interrupted by John Awesome and Chris Harris. Now, deservingly so for John Awesome. Again, questions that I think we deserve answers to, and we haven't gotten yet. But Chris Harris, on the other hand, probably shouldn't have stuck his nose out in that business right there. Because now who knows what is going to take place on this sit-down interview for Blackout. So be sure to check that out next weekend. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But we move into our first match of the night. Of course, this is a roulette match. All of these matches are roulette matches, except for the main event, which means the opponents are randomly drawn to see who will be the contenders for the championships. Very, very fun, cool night it was. Cool concept to open the show. Now, the first roulette we seen was Sander Cool in his global championship, who he would go on to face Warren Peace. Warren Peace got the call in the random roulette selection. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But I first want to take our attention to the women's division, where during the roulette selection to see who was going to face Nightshade, you got Gypsy Freak and you got Jocelyn Havoc, both standing there waiting to have their name called. Now we know there's not a terribly large amount of female superstars here in 3-Dub Wrestling. There's a good fair amount. But the chances of them two getting selected were pretty high. So you got to imagine they're both standing there waiting for this opportunity. But neither of them get selected. And you can see the frustration between the two as they come face to face. Now, of course, Jocelyn was the reason, well, quote unquote, the reason why Gypsy didn't win the Undisputed Women's Championship at Global Impact, because of the return of Jocelyn Havoc, who would ultimately, after attacking both Nightshade and Gypsy, would throw Gypsy into the casket and close the lid, which, as we all know, is the only way to win a casket match, and upon doing so, gave the victory to the champion, Nightshade. So you know Gypsy was standing there in that moment, ready to tear the house down once again with Nightshade. After going 20 minutes at the Big Event 9 and coming to a draw, and then having to go to Global Impact and get attacked and blindsided by Jocelyn Havoc, not targeted, but blindsided and attacked, and ultimately losing that matchup, man, you know that Gypsy was ready to go. But on the other hand, that is what Jocelyn came back here for. She's a former women's champ herself, and she is back in the light here, so to say. So you know she is coming back for an opportunity at that championship, just like every other woman on the roster, but that close she was during her return. And the things that she did to Nightshade, pedigree, on the concrete, you know that she was ready to get her hands on that championship once more. But neither of them were selected. Instead, the women's television champion, Maria James, second generational superstar, with her first championship reign, the women's TV title, gets selected to face Nightshade. You could see the frustration with both Gypsy and Jocelyn as they came face to face and then both stormed off. We would see, and it would turn out to be a non-title match, because I don't know if management was expecting this to happen, but I don't think there were any immediate plans to unify these championships, so it became a non-title match, and deservingly so. Champ versus champion. Very cool turnout, because for the first time that I can remember, the former Queen of the Ring and current Undisputed Women's Champion and one of the best women's champions that we have had tapped out. Tapped out to the J-Lock, to the women's TV champion, Maria James. Now, you would think in this moment that it would be Jocelyn or it would be Gypsy to come vent their frustrations. But it was neither. Maybe both of them had left the arena at the time. That might have been what I had done. You don't get picked. You're there for one reason. You don't get picked in that match. Why stick around? Especially if there's not going to be a roulette now for the women's TV title. Because now she's in action with the Undisputed title. At the conclusion of this matchup, we did get a message sent. But it wasn't from Gypsy and it wasn't from Jocelyn. It was from a former, I'm going to say former because I believe they are no longer together, especially after this moment, Foreign Alliance member, Cruella, the Mistress of Darkness, comes down and sends a message to Maria James by attacking her during her celebration. A big victory for Maria. She has been on a roll. Again, one of those superstars you're not going to hear a lot from. Every now and then she'll pop on social media and say a few things. You might catch her backstage for a little interview. But she's going to come to the ring and fight, and that's exactly what she's been doing ever since before the Big Event 9. Her last 4 or 5 big matches. They've all been big matches. She's won every one of them. She could very well be a future undisputed women's champion. As a matter of fact, I know she is. I don't want to eat my words, but she has that potential. And maybe, I don't know, maybe Cruella isn't liking that. Because it was Cruella and Diana Grace and Nora Cool that would start the Foreign Alliance last season, mainly on the Blaze brand, but we also seen them on Takedown. And they brought Maria James into the mix, almost like taking her under her wing because her father was no longer around. Maybe she needed, I don't know if she needed guidance, but hey, in a flourishing division, it doesn't help to have some allies. Well, that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. I don't think we're going to see any more Foreign Alliance. We might. There still is Diana. We don't know what side she runs on. There still is Nora Cool. Don't know what side she runs on. It all did just start, ultimately. But Cruella sends the message after the match, attacks Maria James. We'll just have to see where it goes from there. I talked about the Extreme Television title with Caleb Stone getting the roulette. 10-year veteran, Hall of Famer, claiming to be future 2-time Hall of Famer. But this was a very interesting match. It's got some new rules to the Extreme Division here in 3W Wrestling, if you didn't notice. We remove the ropes now in these matchups. Anything goes, and we've also got some VIP fan spots around the ring. Now, of course, all VIP members at ringside during these matches will sign waivers that anything that happens is not the direct result or violation by 3W Wrestling. Now, that doesn't mean we won't help with any medical attention, but that just prevents any fan from suing 3W Wrestling. And I think that's a good affirmative action, but it is very cool, a very cool situation to be not just ringside, but right there. I mean, it's almost bird's eye view. It's the best seat in the house. And of course, if you want to be one of those fans that gets one of those VIP spots during the XTV title matches, you can comment hashtag XTVIP. And if you have a channel or a product or something that you want to get out to the public, let us know via Messenger, and we will be sure to shout you out and maybe add some links on that show's description to help point viewers to go check out your stuff. It's a little give back to the fans there. If you want to be a part of something, you want to get your name out there, be sure to comment. Again, hashtag XTVIP, and we will make you one of those fans in the VIP section for the XTV title, and we will shout out your page, content, or product. This match did not go the way that Caleb Stone would want. Very hard-fought match for both superstars. I thought it was a fantastic matchup. I thought it was definitely in contention for match of the night, although it did not win it. We did see Roscoe Wallace get the victory after an Alabama slam on the steel steps, and Caleb Stone talks about this in his promo of the week. And that ultimately would be the curtain call as the 1-2-3 via pinfall gets counted to Roscoe Wallace for the championship, to retain the championship. Pretty cool thing worth noting here. Prior to the matchup, as Roscoe was making his entrance, we seen CFT, Clarence Fletcher Townsend, former general manager of Takedown, making his rounds backstage, bumping into Will King, who was obviously very proud of Roscoe Wallace and the Monarchy. And CFT offering his services via managerial services to Will King, in which Will King was not interested in any of that. In fact, he said he was not in the mood for any of that. Have to see where that path takes us. But moving on, guys, our next match I want to talk about was the one I talked about at the beginning. The very first roulette of the evening seen War and Peace get selected to face Sander Cool for the Global Championship. And this was another thing that CFT made his rounds with. Actually asking Sander if he could purchase the Global Championship. What does this guy think? He can buy anything? Anything he wants? Not everything has a price tag on it, Mr. CFT. I hope you're listening. No disrespect. But you can't buy everything, man. Money is great, and it's awesome to have a bunch of money like you do, I suppose. But you can't buy everything. That is a cherishable championship to Sander Cool. It means a lot to Sander. He put everything on the line to get that championship as a part of the lineup here in 3Dub. It is a championship that was created on the hard work of Sander Cool. It is a championship that took the place of not only the European Championship, but the United States Championship. Both titles that have been very big championships and held by very big names throughout the history of 3Dub Wrestling. This title, the global title, took the place of those. It is very sentimental to Sander Cool, so I don't think there's a price tag. But we would see in this matchup another familiar face. And not a face that is War and Peace, but resembles War and Peace. And we've talked about him because he has been a thorn in the side of War and Peace, and that is Chris Chaos. Chris Chaos from behind, as the referee was not paying attention because the music came on the entranceway, so everybody's attention goes to the entranceway. It's just natural. And as the ref is not looking, Chris Chaos attacks War and Peace from behind, and that ultimately would lead to the pinfall victory for Sander Cool to retain the Global Championship. Now, what is going on? This is another little bit of question and answer that we have not gotten much from. Now, we've gotten some information from War and Peace on who this guy is or who this guy could be or what it is, what's going on here. But there hasn't been a line drawn yet. And maybe we'll find out come this first episode of Blackout. We'll have to find out later in this show when I go over the card. Now, our next roulette situation. This was immediately following the roulette selection for the Women's Championship, where we seen Gypsy and Jocelyn face off and then storm off after Maria got selected. Immediately walks up the tag team champions because they want to know who they're fighting that night, right? They walk up and Hunter Deal spins the wheel and the name lands on no one. I didn't even know that was a choice for the roulette. Nobody else got it, but the tag team champions did a no match selection was picked in the roulette, and, well, Jacob Fowler was pretty excited about that. He was ready to bounce on out of there and hit the craps tables. But TJ Renegade had something else on his mind. Well, okay, if you're not going to give me a title match tonight for us to defend our tag team championships, well, I came here tonight for a fight. This is what TJ says. I came here tonight for a fight. I'm suited up. I'm ready to go. I want to fight. So TJ asks Hunter Deal to spin again to get him a singles match for the evening. And Hunter Deal, not wanting to disappoint, did just that. Plenty of time for this match to happen, right? Now that we're not doing a tag titles match. So we'll just replace it with a singles match. Hunter hits the deal. Hunter hits the deal. Hunter hits the button. And we get a new roulette. A singles match, non-title, TJ Renegade will face Daniel Roberts. Now, the results of this match didn't really not see it coming, but maybe some of you didn't. Midway through the match, Scott Adams makes his way down and gets on Daniel Roberts' side of the ring. Kind of evens things out a little bit because he's seen Jacob Fowler maybe antsy to get out of there and go hit the craps tables or play some blackjack and start fooling around maybe with some turnbuckle pads and stuff like that. Scott Adams wasn't going to have that. We know that Scott Adams cashed in the bounty at the Big Event 9 and would help Daniel Roberts beat Jacob X in that street fight. And that got Scott Adams $100,000 richer. So maybe there's a little, gesture of, hey, you helped me out with a little lump sum of money. I helped you out win a match. And maybe there could be something here. Maybe there could be some sort of alliance. They're both from London. A couple of red coats. So here comes Scott Adams to even the odds in the opposite corner of the tag team champions, but things got a little out of hand. Jacob Fowler didn't necessarily like the idea of Scott Adams coming down. Now, whether it was he didn't want Scott Adams in the corner because, it evened things up, or he didn't want Scott Adams in the corner because now it's going to make the match a little longer and he couldn't hit them craps tables. But there was a situation where Fowler grabbed the foot of Daniel Roberts, and that would prompt Scott Adams to come to the ring apron, and referee Steve Zeebs wasn't going to let any of that go down here tonight, and he threw out Jacob Fowler and Scott Adams. Threw them out. That ultimately would allow TJ Renegade to get a roll-up victory over Daniel Roberts with a quick roll-up pinfall 1, 2, 3. TJ came for a fight and got a win. Awesome matchup. I'm going to move right along here, guys. This next match was one of the best matches on the card. Could have very well been match of the night for the International Championship. Two of the biggest names in 3-Dub today. Chris Conley gets selected in the roulette selection to face Dylan Mason for the International Championship. And these two went toe-to-toe and brought just about everything in the arsenal to the table. We've seen pop-up, powerbomb cutters, X marks the spot. We've seen Blood Eagles. We've seen submissions, Mason's Law. Just about everything these guys had to bring to the table they brought. Ultimately, it was Dylan Mason that retained his championship, making Chris Conley tap out for the first time in his 3-dub career. Could even be first time ever. I think it is, actually. First time ever. He's never tapped out to anybody. Well, Dylan Mason is a hard one to get by. I think there are a lot of superstars on this roster that would agree with me to that. Dylan Mason is one of the best for a reason. And Chris Conley seen every bit of that. But at the same time, on the other hand, Chris was right there, man. He was right there every step of the way in this match, and he was fighting tooth and nail with Dylan Mason. I think if it wouldn't have been for the Blood Eagle on the outside on that thin matted concrete, Chris Conley could have maybe taken this one. It was that close, guys. It was that close. Great match. And at the end of the match, as we seen Dylan Mason celebrating, we seen a friend, I guess you could say friend, former megastar Jimmy Shadow. And why this is important? Well, because earlier in the night, we seen Jimmy Shadow in the parking lot approach Dylan Mason and ask him to reform the megastars. I mean, he made a valid point, though. Even though Hollywood Watkins officially retired and Corey Heck, DJB, Cody Omega are not currently on the roster, still active in other places. Hope they're doing well. Shout out to all of them, of course. But you still have Dylan Mason on the roster. And you obviously have Jimmy Shadow back on the roster. And they didn't see eye to eye when they were in the megastars, but you have a megastar at the helm of the company. But that would only be if that megastar at the helm of the company was a greedy, self-centered president. And that is exactly what President James Black is not. And you heard it out of the horse's mouth himself, Dylan Mason, saying, it's not about control anymore. They've taken everything they've wanted to take. He's got the international championship now. And it's his duty to make that international championship the best it can be. In his eyes, it's better than the World Heavyweight Championship. It's better than the title he carried for 401 days. It's not about conquering. And James Black said it himself as well. It's business. There's a thick line between business and play. So there is no megastar at the helm. And for Dylan Mason, that kind of attitude apparently is in the past. So Dylan pretty quickly shut down Jimmy's ambitions of rejoining the megastars. So where does that leave Jimmy Shadow? I don't know. Apparently he is contracted back here, which is great. Good to see Jimmy back. But where does that put him? Well, we'll have to find out. We know that he's going to be keeping a close eye on Dylan Mason because of what we've seen at the end of that match. Watching on as Dylan Mason celebrated his international title victory. Great match with Chris Conley. Hats off to both of those superstars. Next, we would see the national title roulette situation, which would end up being the Monarchy's own Will King. This match also ended via tap out as the Season 9 highest honor MVP, Jaden Walker, retains his national championship. But it did take a lot. It did take a lot for Jaden because Will King is no lay down guy. One of the biggest superstars that we have on the roster, pound for pound, strength wise, one of the strongest. It took 2 elevated Boston crab, or clover leaves. Not sure what he calls it. I need to really get these finishing and signature move names down, don't I? But it took 2 of them for Jaden Walker to make Will King tap out. And you know Will King didn't want to tap out right there. But I think, now if it were me, I think Will King did the smart thing here because we're very early in this season. Very early in this season 10. There's a lot of big things to come here in season 10, and very well could be big things to come for the Monarchy. So to me, it's a no-brainer for Will King. You get yourself hemmed up in this situation, 2 submissions, pretty much back-to-back, and that second one was in the middle of the ring. In a submission to the Season 9 MVP national champion, Jaden Walker. It's a no-brainer. You got to tap. You got to preserve yourself for the rest of this season. There's plenty of other chances to get back in a title match, to get back in a situation where you can get revenge on Jaden. But right here in this moment, it's a roulette match. Your chances of being in that match are 1 in 40, or however many, 1 in 30. However many other superstars are in that locker room. Of course you want gold every single time you get a chance. But Will King's been on the receiving end of injuries before. He knows exactly what it means. Losing in that title match gives you a lot better chance later than receiving an injury. Because all we know, it could be the next show. It could be the first pay-per-view, first premium live event, guaranteed money that Will King gets another title shot. But if he gets injured in this moment, then he could be out for months. And I think that is a smart move by Will King. You don't want to lose matches, right? Nobody wants to lose a match, especially on the premiere, in a title match. You don't want to lose. You don't want to lose. But to me, I think it was the smart move by Will King. So, victory goes to Jaden Walker. The national champion retains. And then we get to the main event. The match that was announced at New Year's Stampede. A match that was in the making for 6 months. We knew that we would see the Stampede Rumble winner, Hexen, against the heavyweight champion of both brands. And that ended up, of course, being Diargus, the world heavyweight champion from the Blaze brand, and Noah Youngblood, the 3-dub champion from the Takedown brand. And we knew this triple threat was coming into existence. It is what we have been anticipating for season 10. There has been a lot of big announcements, a lot of big changes, but this is the one constant that has been looming since the original announcement was made by my brother, Mr. Drew, at Stampede in London. And here we are, Las Vegas, Nevada, MGM Grand, the first ever 3-dub world heavyweight champion. The unification match that we had all been waiting for. Man, oh man, was it a match. It ended up being match of the night, voted by the viewers and peers. And things didn't necessarily go the way that I thought they were going to go. I think many of us thought that match was going to go a lot differently. Why? Here's why. You got Diargus coming into this matchup off of some unbelievable momentum. After almost not even getting a match at the Big Event 9, to beating Twan Montana, one of the biggest up-and-coming stars in this business. Beating him on the grandest stage of the big event. Getting real close to becoming the MVP. Carrying, for the last couple of months of Season 9, the entire Blaze brand on his back. The best he has ever been in his entire career was these last 6, 8, 10 months. The momentum from him into this matchup, unbelievable. And the same can be said for Noah Youngblood. After tretching his way through the entire Season 9 under the quote-unquote dictatorship, if you will, of Remy Resner in the Cutthroat Crew. After overcoming all of the odds, cashing in a briefcase, and for the first time in his career, winning a heavyweight championship. Things could not be any greater for both Noah and Darius going into this matchup. And I think that showed in the match. I definitely think that showed in the match, because what we thought was going to happen didn't happen. The result, maybe that a lot of people thought was going to happen, did happen, but the way that result was accomplished, it's not the way we thought it was going to go. I don't know what you were thinking, but my vision of this matchup was we were going to have a 7-foot, undefeated monster enter into this matchup and completely decimate the two heavyweight champions. That's what I thought. And that is no shade at all on Noah or Darius. Like I said, the best they have ever performed has been these last few months. They were at the peak of their ability. Maybe the peak. Maybe there's still more to see. But at this moment in time, I could have put either of them two up against anybody. Anybody. Except for him. And I want to stress this. I don't say that because I don't think that they could have gotten the job done. I think there were several instances in this matchup that they could have taken it. Either one of them could have taken it. They had several chances to do so, and a couple of them were very close. I thought there was going to be more of a game plan together against Hexen, but that didn't seem to be the case. I don't think they needed to work together because of the momentum that they had. They both came into this match on fire. And for that reason, it didn't go the way we were expecting it to go. It was not Hexen picking these guys up with one arm and throwing them around like they were nothing. That's not how it went. Noah and Darius brought the fight. And for the first time that I've been calling Hexen matches, I thought I was going to count a 3 count against him. Now, of course, that 90 plus, I think it's 96 now. Guys, he's approaching 100 victories untouched. 96 wins. 0 losses. Now, of course, he's only been in 3-dub for the better part of a year. A full season, a little bit more. Not all of those victories are here in 3-dub. think we can get an official count. But that's his entire career. He's never lost a match. Indies, other promotions, backyard wrestling, anything that man has been. I don't know if he's been in backyard. I'm just throwing that out there, but that would be that would be a sight to see. I'd pay that $2 ticket. He's never lost a match, guys. Never lost a match. Think about that. Think about that. James Black has lost matches. Matt Eighth Star, Juice James, Dylan Mason, Chris Conley, Corey Heck, Caleb Stone in 10 years. They've all lost matches. This guy hasn't. He's never lost a match. I can't stress that enough. And now, he is at the top of the food chain. He's carrying the biggest prize in this company right now. And even though Noah and Dargus fought their asses off, put everything on the line, had a fantastic showing, guys. They had a great match. They really, really did. Really did. Ultimately, it became 96-0. So what's next? Before we talk a little bit more about Hexen, what's next for Noah and Dargus? I don't know if this was previously announced, but this was a no rematch situation. Hexen is your 3-dub World Heavyweight Champion. And that is final. So what's next for Noah and what's next for Dargus? Sure, we will find out soon enough. But the result of the match, guys, submission on Dargus. Hexen gets the win, becomes the new 3-dub World Heavyweight Champion, the first. And guys, the Hexen era is here. I just hope everybody is ready for it. I'm not sure if I am. But that was the card, guys. That was the final Blaze card. As we round through this first hour of the Pillar to Post podcast, we now turn our attention to what's to come. Of course, we were given the pleasure of the announcement by Mr. James Black that the first premium live event is going to be guaranteed money. And that is going to be from Phoenix, Arizona. Not too far from Las Vegas. So we are gearing up and we have some qualifying matches that have already been announced and will be announced right now because we are going to go over officially the match card for Blackout Episode 1. Man, oh man, I am excited, guys. We are venturing into it. Going to stay in Las Vegas for the very first episode in the MGM Grand Arena. And we are glad to be here and be there for the debut of Blackout. Now, got the match card here in front of me. And the matches that are to be determined. We'll start with those. As announced earlier, the winner of Lance Hagen and Eddie Walker will face Roscoe Wallace for the XTV title and the new XTV title match rules. And also the winner of Drew Tanner versus MDX will face Twan Montana in a guaranteed money qualifying match on Blackout. So those two matches, we are waiting until the results from later tonight at the house show. But this is what we've got for the card on Blackout. I've already talked about the sit down between James Black, John Awesome, and Chris Harris. Hopefully we get some answers to some of the questions that some of you guys have been wondering, especially about the situation between James Black and Chris Harris. And is there an alliance there? And of course we know that John Awesome is going to be saying what he needs to say about this whole situation with both of those guys there in attendance. So that is going to happen. Sit down, talk it out, if you will. There's going to be another big return to 3Dub, and that is going to be the brother of Dargus, Martrix, will make his way back to 3Dub Wrestling. He's going to find himself in a match with a tag team champion, the one who got the night off at Blaze Episode 1. Jacob Fowler, one half of the tag team champions, will be in a match with a legendary tag team competitor, Martrix. Good to have Martrix back here in 3Dub Wrestling. Another match that has been brought to the attention. Maria James enters herself after beating the champion into a number 1 contenders match with Gypsy Freak and Jocelyn Havoc. Whoa, guys. Big triple threat match right here. And of course, the winner will go on to face Nightshade at Guaranteed Money for the Undisputed Women's Championship. Big triple threat match here. Gotta imagine that Cruella will probably be poking her nose in this situation because, hey, she's a former champion herself. And if she already has an issue with Maria getting involved in that roulette match, which wasn't even a decision that she had a choice in, I only got to wonder what Cruella thinks now of Maria getting in this number 1 contenders match. She earned it, though. So, Gypsy, Jocelyn, Maria, number 1 contenders match. Also, we talked about Will King and what's next for him after losing to Jaden Walker. He will be in attendance. Going to see Will King in the ring talking with the audience, scheduled for some promo time. Got to wonder what Will King's going to talk about here. Maybe it's CFT. Maybe it's losing to Jaden Walker. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's something about the monarchy. We'll find out next Sunday night. Qualifying matches. Tuan Montana not only going to get a qualifying match either against Drew Tanner or MDX, there's going to be 3 other qualifying matches on this show, guys. Big, big stuff. The first of which we're going to see Warren Peace and the debut in ring of Chris Chaos. Finally, these two are going to get to go one-on-one in a match on Blackout, and the winner will advance to the Guaranteed Money ladder match. I asked what's next for Noah and Dargus. Here's what's next for Noah and Dargus. A qualifying match on Blackout. That's right. A qualifying match. I think that is the next best thing that they can get to a rematch. An opportunity to get into the Guaranteed Money ladder match and change the course of their career once again. You know that Noah won last year's Guaranteed Ladder briefcase match, carried that briefcase for quite some time, and ended up cashing in on his own stablemate to become the first world championship ever for Noah Youngblood. And that just goes to show you guys what that briefcase can allow its holder to be capable of. Anything goes when you have that briefcase. Nobody is safe. So both of these guys, rightfully so, after that fantastic match on Blaze, going to get a qualifying match on Blackout for Guaranteed Money. And now being announced as our main event for the first Blackout in 3Dub. Chris Conley and Dylan Mason in a rematch. This time, the international title is not on the line, so Dylan Mason doesn't have to worry about that, but what is on the line is a chance at Guaranteed Money. That's right, guys, a qualifying match for Chris Conley and Dylan Mason. We're going to get to see that fantastic matchup at least one more time in our main event of Blackout. And that is pretty dang cool, especially for Chris Conley. Guys, he was on the main event of the final episode of Takedown. And now he's on the main event of the first episode of Blackout. Big, big stuff for the Season 8 MVP. And huge matchup for Dylan Mason. Because, hey, again, it's Dylan freaking Mason, guys. And if he can win this match and then go into guaranteed money and win the briefcase and still be the international champion, look out. But you can't forget who the 3-dub world heavyweight champion is right now, the Hexen. So, big main event for Blackout. Dylan Mason, Chris Conley. Guys, what a show we have lined up in Las Vegas, Nevada next Sunday night. Blackout, first ever branded show, comes to you in 3-dub wrestling. I cannot wait. I'm sure you cannot neither. Good luck to all of the superstars that will be in action on Blackout, and good luck to all of the superstars who will be in action tonight for the house show. We are ready for Season 10, guys. I cannot wait to fully get this season underway and all of us just full steam ahead as we venture on to the big event 10. Guys, I want to thank you for joining me with this second episode of the Pillar to Post podcast. I want you to be looking forward to the next episode, episode 3, where we are going to have a very special guest. John Awesome will join us here on the Pillar to Post podcast for an exclusive interview. And that means, guys, if we don't get the full answers that we are looking for from Chris Harris and James Black and John Awesome on this sit-down interview at Blackout, we will have a chance to get some answers from John Awesome, or at least some follow-up from what may happen. So, guys, be on the lookout for that next weekend. Could be Saturday morning, could be Sunday morning. All depends on how I feel. And I like the sound of that. But I will let you know. We will let you know when this next episode will drop. But be sure to attend us tonight, the house show. First ever coming to you live stream on YouTube. And be sure to catch, of course, Blackout next Sunday night. Guys, hit the like button on this video, please. Goes a long way for us. Subscribe to Worldwide Wrestling if you haven't already. Follow us on social media and comment your favorite moments of this show in the comment section. Guys, I'm Dewey Danielson. Thank you for joining me and have a great night.
The world, check the resume. Competition's on the table, that was yesterday. See through all of that is in the real view. Conquering the escapade, climbing up to tier 2. You want it all with me too. I'm coming from a reach through, busting out the steel roof. Some can't get a peek through, but I promise you it's not new. Hardest in the room, let me show you how I got you. Never seen us coming when we come around. Never see us running from the other town. High flying in the sky, can you see me now? Headed to the top from the underground.